Hey everybody, Angel Medina here. I just wanted to introduce anyway, and he is one of the owners of Drone Quote. And today I'm just going to ask him a few questions, and he's going to answer some of the questions that you may have. So thanks for coming on here.
Oh, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
So the question I have is, what do you feel separates yourself from people that have the similar type of business that you have?
So, you know, when I hear somebody say similar, there is a similarity in that we offer roofing and solar services, but that's really where it stops, right? Because there's nobody else in the entire United States, believe it or not, that is using drone technology the way we are to help the customer. And what that means is that when a homeowner wants to buy solar, instead of having one sales guy come by their house and sit with them for an hour and a half, 2 hours, trying to get them to close on the spot, we take a little bit of a different approach. Everything that we do is online. So a customer comes to us, they give us the information that we need to quote the system. Okay. And then we generate multiple quotes from different installers. So
kind of like a broker, right?
Exactly. Okay. That's a really good way of describing it. So that's a similarity, I should say, that we have with other companies. But where we take it a step further is when you decide to move forward with one of our quotes, we send out a drone pilot to do a survey of the roof and to get the condition of the roof before. And then once the system is installed or the roof is done, we do a survey so that you have a before and after. And what that means to the customer is that if there's a tile that was damaged that was missed by the installer team, because you're on a roof, it's hot up there, you don't notice every fine detail, right? We're able to say, hey, look, installer, this is the condition of the roof before, and this is the condition of the roof after. There's a little bit of a difference here if you can go back and make sure that it gets rectified.
Right.
Because, I mean, when's the last time you got on your roof?
Right.
People don't get on their roofs.
So you send a drone up there and you're making sure that the client is well taken care of, right?
Absolutely.
Okay. And as far as the people that you refer them to, these are people that you normally work with on a month-to-month basis?
Yeah, so these are installers that we've brought on. We vetted them. We look at their Yelp, Better Business, Google reviews. But more importantly, we bring all that information onto our website so that when you're looking at the quotes, you could see all their reviews and then link out to those websites to further read the information. But more importantly, we link to the contractor state license board. Okay. So you're able to see the level of bond information they have, how long they've been in business, when their license, renews or expires or what have you. Right. Which typically homeowners, believe it or not, don't think to dig that deep.
Right. Yeah.
And then one thing that we do that would give a homeowner peace of mind is that when we vet that installer, we look at the county records to see if there's any cases against them.
Okay. Yep. What is something that you would recommend to somebody that's taking the first steps?
There's a lot of solar-only loans available, right? What homeowners don't understand when they're buying that kind of loan is that the principal is added to their taxes. Okay. So it doesn't even factor into their credit. So they could have bad credit and still qualify for that loan because it goes onto their property taxes. But it doesn't subordinate. So now if I want to go refinance my house and I say, Angel, help me with that, you're going to come back and say, hey, look, we have this loan that won't subordinate. Right. It has to be paid off.
Like a second mortgage, right?
Correct.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So also tell them you are a veteran, right?
Yeah, I spent some time in the military.
Thank you for serving our country.
Oh, my pleasure. I spent some time in the military. I was in the Army for just shy of 11 years. Actually, the seed for using drones in my line of work was planted when I was in Iraq because I would always hear the drones flying around.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And they would always, there was a particular base that we were stationed on where I would see them land. They were really close to the airfield. Yeah. So it always intrigued me. And then when I started getting into solar, I used to have to get on roofs. And I tell people, I'm 5'6", so I'm scared of heights, I bought a drone to make my job easier. And then I realized, this is actually working out for that purpose. But yeah, I definitely saw drones in the military, and it planted a seed, if you will. So, if I could ask you, if somebody has a higher than average interest rate, say they bought their house 2 years ago, 3 years ago, when rates were not as low as they are today, I always encourage people to look at their equity first, right? Equity financing for their solar. So what would that do for somebody if they were to pull out money and potentially save money on their interest rate and then even save money on their cost of electricity? What does that look like?
Well, it's a huge savings. If the first thing I would say is first find out if that's an option that you have. And once you find that out, that you do have that option, you want to find out if it's enough that's going to not only help you to lower your overall payment, but to get you enough to pay for the solar system. It's just going to be a tremendous value, because what I tell everyone is you don't want to work for your house, you want your house to work for you.
Yep.
And a lot of people, I see it not as much as it used to be, had the old school mentality, which is they pay off their house and then that's it.
Yep.
But there's so much more that they have to know, because if you just have a ton of equity but you never do anything with it, then your money is just sitting there, and over time your house could fluctuate in value. So if you do have equity, instead of going and get like a personal loan or the type of loans that you mentioned, this is going to give you a lot more opportunity to do more and to save more. So the goal would be to, like you said, you don't even have to have a really high rate. You can have, I have a client recently that had actually a really good rate, but with today's market, I was able to get him the cash that he needed for the solar system and pay off some bills, and his overall payment dropped, I think, by less than, it was about $1,000 savings overall.
Oh, wow.
So on his actual mortgage, it was just a little bit more, but he was able to pay off the solar system and also the overall debt.
Yeah,
So,
and I'm sure even paying a little bit more would be paying less than it would have been with a solar-only loan.
Right. And I'm not sure exactly what kind of interest rate those have, and I'm not a CPA, but that's something that, based upon how you claim your income, that you do want to talk to your CPA about to see also. And the other thing I would encourage is, just like with anything, if you get a plumber, you get a babysitter, you're going to do your homework.
Right.
So just like I did my homework and speaking with you, and I see a lot of good things that you're doing, and you have to make sure before you just work with anybody, let's say your best friend from high school or your brother-in-law or your realtor refers you, you just want to make sure that they have helped other people, and you want to see what that person has said about them in testimonials.
Right.
Nowadays, everything is online, so you're easily able to accomplish that.
Yep. If I could circle back to what you were saying earlier, pulling cash out to buy the solar. There's a lot of solar loans available that, if somebody may not be able to use that equity or may not want to or what have you. Speaking about roofing specifically, there aren't a lot of loans available for roofing projects. For those homeowners out there that are in need of a roof and are wondering where to get their money, they're literally living right underneath their money in that roof, right?
Yeah.
Access that equity, reach out to Angel. He could help you out and see if that would be a viable solution for you to put your money back into the house as an investment to improve the condition of the home.
Yeah, what you're ultimately doing is you're putting yourself in a position to not only lower your overall payment, but you get a house for a reason. You don't just get it just to say you have a house. You get it to, over time, you're building equity, and you want to make sure that the equity is ultimately working for you. Now, again, it all depends on, everybody's situation is unique. So a lot of people ask me, should I do this? Should I do that? The first step is to find out what your options are. Mm-hmm. Once you find that out, then you want to make sure that when you do decide to get equity, is that you speak to a professional, because when you're going through the process and you're getting solar, let me ask you a question though. I was just thinking about the solar savings. How much is it overall that you're seeing people save on a monthly basis compared to their electricity bill? So they're going to make that money back. Let's say they don't make it back in a year, but it's so worth it if they make it back in 2, 3, 4, 5 years, right?
Yeah, a typical payback period is roughly between 4 and 5 years,
mm-hmm.
right? So if you're somebody like me, I'll use myself as an example. I used to not run the air conditioner
mm-hmm.
at all. So it was uncomfortable in my house, right?
Oh, yeah.
And my bill was about $100 a month. So it's not a significant amount, right?
Right.
That's very.
But you're uncomfortable.
But I'm uncomfortable, and I work hard to live in my house. I might as well be comfortable.
Right.
But then I'd run the AC, and my utility bill would be like $350.
Right.
So I stopped real quick.
Or higher, yeah.
So somebody that was in my shoes isn't going to see a significant savings.
Mm-hmm.
But if they could roll it into their mortgage, and it's only adding, I don't know, let's say it adds $70 to their monthly mortgage.
Right.
They're potentially saving $30. Now that's not something huge to write home about.
Mm-hmm.
But imagine being comfortable in your house.
Mm-hmm.
Now that's a lot more noteworthy, right?
Right.
Now, so that's on the one end of the spectrum. The other end of the spectrum is we're talking to somebody right now. They're averaging about $500 to $650 during the higher months of the year during the summer, and about 300, 250 during the off season when they're not running their AC. That homeowner has an average bill of about, I'd call it about $450, $500. And that homeowner would see a monthly payment, especially if they use their mortgage or their equity. I mean, somewhere in the $125 a month.
Okay.
Right. As a payback monthly payment towards their equity, having pulled money out.
Right.
And these are just very rough numbers, right? But that person paying cash for the system would pay back for the system in about 4 years. And now once they paid themselves back from the monthly savings, now they're still using that level of electricity without having spent any money on it thereafter. Yeah,
I'm a big AC guy. To me, a lot of people focus on saving money, and yes, that's great. But if you're during the process of saving money, you can not only do that, but put yourself in a more comfortable position. I see solar panels and everything that's going on right now. A lot of people are starting to get wise to it and doing it more often. So I'm glad that you were able to let everyone know. And again, I'll have your information on the video. Thank you so much for visiting the channel, okay?
Yeah.
All right, thanks a lot.
Yep.
Cool. Thank you. Angel Medina, your lifelong mortgage advisor. Thank you.